is Mike, this is the iFlight iH3, and in today's video I'll give you my opinion on this drone. So this drone is in a very interesting category as it's a 3.5-inch non-ducted freestyle slash long-range drone. It's trying to be a lot of things, and iFlight actually says that this thing flies like a 5-inch, has a GPS on the back, so it can do longer range flights with a bigger battery. You can actually go very far with it, but it's also capable of freestyle, so potentially if you want you can fly it similarly to a 5-inch drone because it's also quite powerful. So it is an interesting mix, and like I said, it's trying to be many things. But interestingly enough, when a drone tries to be many things, more often than not it's failing to do that. Is this the case here as well? Well, not really, but kinda. I'll get to it. If you remember, previously on the channel I have reviewed the iFlight Chimera 4, which was a very similar drone to this one. However, it was a little bit bigger and it wasn't that good when it comes to freestyle. The motors were not that powerful. So this is kind of an upgrade coming from the Chimera 4. If you have had this drone or you were thinking about buying it, of course it was a previous generation with a Vista, so this one is of course with the O3 air unit, so you don't really need to put an action camera on top. However, you can do that. You have this mount here for a naked GoPro. It cannot carry a full-sized GoPro, unfortunately, but this drone is good as it is. I personally wouldn't put a camera on top of it because that will only make it heavier and that will ruin the flight characteristics a little bit. So the O3 air unit is great, as we all know, and you have the iFlight Blitz F7 Mini, which is a stack that we've seen in many other iFlight drones. It's a well-known stack that works great, and I'm a big fan of this one. The motors that this drone comes with are 1504 3100 kV, and like I said in the beginning of the video, they are quite powerful. So if you want, you can do some freestyle tricks here and there. Personally, I don't think this drone is the best when it comes to flying freestyle because nothing can really match the performance of a 5-inch. However, if you are only looking to own one drone and you want to kind of get a taste of what flying a 5-inch would feel like, then maybe this will give you a rough idea of what you can expect from a 5-inch. One major difference between this and a real 5-inch though is the wind resistance. This drone is quite light. Even if you put a bigger battery on it, it's still quite light. And when it's windy outside, it's just not, I wouldn't really say game over, but it's not pleasant to fly it in windy conditions because it shakes a lot. It's not a pleasant experience to fly this tiny drone in windy conditions, and especially if you're flying over water like me on my very first flight. It can be a little nerve-wracking. However, it's still here. It did the job fine, and I would say the footage came out fairly good looking. It's not ideal, of course, when you have that, that much shakiness, but Gyroflow can probably fix 99% of the shaky footage that you have. So it's still fine, but like I said, it's just a little bit stressful to fly this over water or, fly it anywhere when you have a lot of wind around because it doesn't give you confidence knowing that it's shaking that much. Now on the back of this drone you have this GPS module which, sticks out a little bit and it looks kind of weird, and I'm not sure why iFlight did this whole design of the GPS sticking out that much and leaving it like this because you don't have any feet on the drone. It's an H-shape frame and you don't have any padding on the bottom. So when you just set the drone on a table, it just sits weird because of that GPS module sticking out from the back. So I'm not a big fan of this, this situation here with how the drone sits when it's flat, and also when you are landing or taking off with it, it's also not ideal for the GPS module because even though it has some TPU protection around it, it's still the first thing that touches the ground when you are landing. So for me personally, the biggest enjoyment of flying this drone comes when you're using it as intended, which is low to the ground, close to objects, close to obstacles, and with a super fast speed. This drone is made for cruising. Of course, it can do some light freestyle here and there, and it has the power to get you out of a situation where you can possibly crash. However, freestyle is definitely not the strongest suit of this drone. It's a 3.5-inch small drone after all, but with the fact that it has GPS, with the fact that it has strong motors, and it's super lightweight, you can do a lot of cruising with it. And the cruising doesn't have to be slow and boring. It can be very fast-paced, very interesting, very, challenging if you're very close to those objects that you are flying next to. Or if you want to, you can kind of use it as a, long-range drone if you want to, because of that GPS on the back and the signal strength, which is excellent with the O3 air unit. You can also take advantage of that and use it for longer range flights. This is a 4S drone, and iFlight recommends you to fly it with 1050 mAh 4S batteries, or if you're looking for a little bit more lighter setup, then you can fly it with an 850 or 900 mAh battery. So you can use a smaller battery like this. This is 850, but if you have the Defender 25 and you have those 900 mAh batteries, they can also fit here. You have the XT30 connector here on the front, which is again a little bit unusual, but they have switched it around, but you can still use these batteries from the Defender 25. Now, iFlight doesn't really recommend you to use those because maybe they are a little bit scared that they might disconnect during mid-flight. I didn't experience any issues with that. I've been using the 900 mAh batteries for the most part on this iH3, and I had zero issues with them. So if you have any of those, feel free to check them out and use them on the iH3. Now, out of the box, this drone flies great for cruising, for regular type of flying where you don't have a lot of movement and a lot of sharp changes in the directions. Then it's great. But as soon as you start doing a little bit more freestyle type of movements, then you will notice that the sensitivity is way too much. It's way too snappy, and at least for my taste, this is way too sensitive. So I definitely need to dial down the sensitivity of all of those rates that have been applied to this drone. Now, the rates are not a problem. Of course, everyone has different taste when it comes to the rates. However, the tune of the iH3 is great. iFlight is doing an amazing job of tuning these drones amazingly well out of the factory, so you don't have to tweak anything yourself. The only thing you really need to tweak is your own rates, because of course that's a matter of personal preference, but the tune is always great on any of iFlight's drones, so I'm happy with that. And when it comes to the price, this is fairly similarly priced to any other quadcopter that gets released nowadays with the O3 air unit. This is about $580 to $590 with a receiver. This is the TBS Nano RX receiver that I have right here. But if you don't want to have a receiver, or you want a similar receiver from another system, then the price of course changes. I will link the drone down in the description so you can check it out depending on what receiver you want to use. You will see the corresponding price of that. But like I said in the beginning, this drone is a very interesting mix of many things. It's trying to be a small drone, it's trying to be a long-range drone, it's also trying to be a 5-inch drone, although it's a 3.5-inch. It is, suitable to fly closer to objects. However, it's not ducted, so it's not really perfectly suitable. It's not like a Cinewhoop where you can really get close to people. Here you can still hit someone and it will be, quite the damage, so I wouldn't recommend that. So with this said, I can say that this is a great drone, and it's a great all-in-one drone that is mixing a lot of characteristics from other quads, but it's not excellent in any of them. So if you're looking for one of these types of drones that can really, try to replace all of your other drones, then maybe this will be it. But if you already have a 5-inch, if you already have a Cinewhoop, if you already have a 7-inch drone, or you might have many of these different types of quads, then you definitely don't need this one. If you only want to have one drone, then this might be it. I mean, it's a great drone, it records great footage, it flies well, as long as it's not too windy. So it's really nothing majorly bad that I can say about it. It's just, not excellent in any of those areas where traditional 5, 7 or 3-inch drones are excelling. With that being said, guys, this is everything I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Drop me a like and a comment if you did, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Ciao.